tactics. You can call it low-level details, you can call it tips and tricks, call it whatever you like. But here in our agenda is talking about spec and context, our main job now for software engineering, having realistic expectations. We want to talk about model choice. We want to talk about using third-party libraries, how much we can go and iterate with one context, and then how we use debugger to learn the code. And also we will just briefly mention autocomplete. Our main job here is to give it good spec, good context. If we do that, I guarantee you it will do a good job every single time. This is our only job now. We talked about this a little bit. If there are hallucinations, did we give it enough context? Do we ourselves know what we are building? Or is the task size optimal? So are we asking to do too much in one context? If you detect hallucinations, answer these 3 questions and I'm sure you will remove them. What I do a lot of the times is I use voice to text feature from ChatGPT app, and I try to be very thorough when I'm talking. I can be, more verbose. I can say more words, and I kind of like I'm flowing. So when I'm specing a new feature, I'll just talk for 5 to 10 minutes, have like a really big chunk of text, and then edit that text slightly and copy it over to Cursor as a prompt, and usually I get really good results because I'm verbose and I explain things in detail. If you don't know what the right context is for the tasks you want completed by AI, then that's a red flag. We talked about this. You really should understand the full code base that you're working on, like every single line of code you should understand and be aware where what is. One good trick that I learned is that you can shift paste. Why do you want this? Because Cursor sometimes wants to be too clever, and then when you paste code snippets from your code base, it also links the file. Those files can be big. If you do it a few times, it can eat up your context space, and you don't need the whole file. So like your main job is like use only what you need in that context. Every time you can save some space for the context, do it. And also, very important, do not edit files at the same time as AI. It will overwrite stuff, it will get confused, so do not do it. If it's working on it, let them finish it, and then you continue if you want to edit manually. When working with AI, we need to have realistic expectations. So people have some unrealistic expectation and then try it and they get disappointed and they're like, okay, this doesn't work and I won't try it ever again. So sometimes you will need to explain better. Sometimes it will produce something strange. That is normal. I mean, even if it works like 90% of the time, if it completes the whole feature, that's amazing, that's crazy, So 90%, that's awesome. This is a tool, use it as a tool. Sometimes it will not produce like code that's like super easy for humans to read, so you can iterate with it and make it more easy for humans to read. Again, the final commit, like you press commit or you type commit, that is on you. And it doesn't really matter where the code came from. Like, what's the difference? Did AI write it or you wrote it? If it's the same code, if you have the same, barriers, what it needs to pass for good code, then it doesn't really matter. It's the same, but the end responsibility is on you. Also, while we are at realistic expectations, I am expecting you to like and subscribe. Thank you. Model choice. Cursor really wants to mess with this. So I don't know why they do it. That's crazy. Every time like I reload the Cursor or they make an update, they change models and settings and then max and then the price get priced like that and this. I'm guessing they're experimenting like the perfect pricing strategy. They're struggling to make extra money above the standard membership, subscription, $20 or something. So they're experimenting with that. I have a habit, like almost every prompt, I just check the right model is selected. They keep changing settings, thinking max and so on, so be sure to check. Sometimes they push a new update and then your model is not even shown, so you have to go to cursor settings and to models and to enable it. I don't know why they do it, but they do it, so just beware of that. The model I choose now, and this changed during the recording of the video because the best one was 3.7, but while I was recording 4.0 came out. Apparently not that better, but it's better nonetheless. I use these for like 90%, 95%, 98% of the tasks. It's fast, it's reliable, it's good. Sometimes, it adds a little bit of things. Apparently, you should be adding less than 3.7, but we will see. And sometimes, very, very rarely, if I'm not happy with the approach, I just run the same prompt on a different model to see what I will get, And usually the Sonnet is the best, almost always. When I have something complex, I'll just try other models and see how it does. If one of them is struggling, like kind of all of them will, that just means that I'm trying like to do too much in one context. We have Cursor Max now, and to be honest, I don't even know. I'm not sure what it does exactly. Like it can make these tool calls and stuff like that. Do you need it? I'm not sure. Like I didn't encounter a problem where I had to click max. Like I couldn't make it and I click max and it worked. So I don't have that example. Very probably you don't need it. It's very expensive. It can be 5 times, 25 times, 50 times more expensive. So it's still not a lot of money. You might pay like $10 for a feature, which is still not a lot of money. But I still think that it's like, mostly for vibe coders who really want to push as much of the context finding to the model, which can work sometime. And also like for some people that are, like price insensitive. You can see this girl, Portfoliana, she doesn't care because the company is paying for it. So, for her, it doesn't really matter. Library usage is where the LLMs shine. They have all the libraries pre-indexed, and any integration is like, 5 minutes away, 2 prompts away. So integrating with all APIs, external tools, stuff like that. If they have something public that's older than a year or whatever the date of the last training was, the LLM will be able to handle it. Sometimes the latest docs are changed, so you need to like give it a link. But this is so cool. Like you can build very, very cool stuff, very fun stuff very quickly. It's amazing. And it usually knows what it's doing with API keys, but again, make sure to double check. And using the ecosystems, the languages that have big ecosystems, that have a lot of libraries, that helps a lot. So, JavaScript, Python, that's where you have most of the fun with this. Context size strikes again. We have prompt size limits, but if we do many prompts in the same context, it kind of dilutes it. So I don't recommend going above 10 or maximum 15 prompts in one context, depending how big the size of the task is. You can, if it's smaller, you can do more prompts, you can get away with it. But the more you go, it like kind of gets a mind of its own and kind of forgets what was above, and maybe it wants to spice things up or forget about a requirement that you made a few prompts ago. So I discourage you from doing this. Do big changes, I would suggest in like 3 or 4 prompts, and if you cannot, then I suggest restarting. So what does that mean? You can just restart fully. We'll talk about the checkpoint feature. Or what I do a lot of the times, it will produce some chunks of the code that are good. So I copy them and I start over with these new chunks of code. And I tell it, look at this code, this is great. Now add that on top of that, and then it was great. And I can accelerate it, 10 times or something. The restore checkpoint in Cursor is absolute best feature in Cursor. It is kind of hidden now. It's very small, but you will find it in the prompting area, and you can use it a lot. It allows you to experiment, to play, and then you know that there is no cost in going back. Before this feature, people have tried to hack this and commit after every prompt, and I did too, and I did all other stuff. But when I saw this feature, I was like, this is amazing. This is really, really good. It's very small, but you will be able to see it. Like there's like restore, small button in the prompting area. Also, just in case, I use history extension in Cursor, so this is like my plan C or whatever. I used to use debugger a lot before, but now I use it a lot. And I don't even kind of use it for debugging anymore. I use it to understand the code. So when LLM gives me a code, I read the code, spend some time reading it, but then I actually prefer to run the code and look at the variables and examine what's going on, where is it going if else, and so on. What are the actual values in the variables? And when I see that, I kind of have much better perception of what is done. And this helps me to really understand the code before I commit it. I never commit it before I run it at least once. I run all if-elses at least once through the debugger itself. Autocomplete, is nice. If you tried it in Cursor, sometimes it is crazy good. It reads your mind, and you just keep pressing tab. You're like, oh my God, how long can this go? And sometimes it can go for a long time, but it is mostly a party trick because it cannot read your mind. You didn't give it any context or spec, so it's guessing. What will you guess? Sometimes it's great, sometimes it's crazy. I did some full endpoints. Usually when there are like patterns in the file, when there's boilerplate, there's queries like tests, stuff like that, things that have like a lot of repeating code, then it can do an okay job. Definitely don't rely on it. That's not the main thing in Cursor. That's like less than, I would say, 1 or 2% of my code is this. The setup becomes very important. I used to use a big screen, and I use it still now. It is very important because it allows you to open a lot of tabs without like alt tabbing, switching context, and so on. So I used like a 43-inch screen in parallel with my MacBook Pro. As you can see, my desk is very clean. I have only kind of those two things there. I have my weather station and I have earplugs. So that's like only essentials. The big screen is very important because it allows me to have like, on the right, I have prompting screen. In the middle, I will open like a debugger. And then on the left of Cursor, I will have code itself. On the far left, I use Table Plus for database management. It's awesome. If you didn't try it, I cannot recommend it enough. On the left in the middle, we have my ChatGPT, which I mostly use to do speech to text, so I can copy the text over to my prompt in Cursor. I think there are some extensions for Cursor, but I didn't really look into it. And then on the bottom left, I might have like Postman to send requests to my backend, or I might have like a developer console to examine front end. I might want to scrape some data or see what I did. On my MacBook Pro, I have Chrome, and that's basically all Chrome stuff. And on the bottom right, it's whatever I need, maybe another terminal or something like that. You can see that there's a small portion of the big screen covered by the small screen of the laptop. I'm aware, and that is the compromise I make. I want to keep the screen close and low, so that's the decision I make. These are the tools. I mentioned all of them except Beeper. So Beeper is amazing. It allows you to consolidate all your chats into one application and then disable notifications from Instagram when somebody likes or comments, stuff like that, but you can still get a notification when you get a message. And you can reply directly back in Beeper. You don't have to go into Instagram and get doom scrolling and stuff like that. This is the same for TikTok and other apps. Also, your phone is your biggest distraction, so I think it's the best to keep it far, far away when you are working. Your work environment should be CO2 metered, So CO2, wait, I have it here, I'll show it. So this is a CO2 meter, currently 764 CO2 parts per million, which is okay. Below 1,000 is okay. So if you are working in a closed room, which most of us are, then you need this. You need this. If it goes above 1,500, 2,000, it can be dangerous. You're losing focus, especially like in the room you sleep, and so on. So this is like my number one hack that people don't really know about. Also, noise and people. I sometimes use earplugs even when I'm alone and in a quiet room. Why? Because it's my form of a ritual of going into flow. So it's just, placebo, but it works. So I just put them and I'm like, okay, now when I have earplugs, now I'm going into flow. For deep work, I would suggest you be alone. That's where you can make the deepest work. Obviously, sometimes you need to sync with people, do it sometimes in person, or keep some short Zoom meetings. But alone for deep work, especially if you are well-rounded on all edges and you can do a lot of stuff alone, then I think that's the money. That's the best thing. Sleep, workouts, time outdoor. There's go watch YouTube videos of that, or I might make some YouTube videos on it. But it's very important for flow, sleep, working out, and spending time outdoor. Those are three key things. So you can actually sit for 5 or 6 or 8 hours in front of a computer and be focused. What I do especially is I split my day into half. So I might start working at 8 a.m. and work until 1. Then I will go do a workout. I will eat lunch. I will have rest. And then I will continue again around 5 or 6, and then do a few hours more. And then I have 2 fresh brains per day. This is it. Thank you for watching. If you made it to the end, well done. I would greatly appreciate comments and feedback and questions. So just use, this is below comment section. Write whatever you want. I will probably reply to all people unless this becomes massive. If this video goes well, there will be more. So please like and subscribe. Thank you.